If there was a fly buzzing around in your ear and annoying you, you would probably like swat at it. You would get bug spray. You might open the door so that you can kindly let it out. What would life look like if we treated annoying people with bad energy and bad vibes like they were bugs? I'm somebody who thought it was so mean to block people. I cared way too much about being perceived as a nice person, so much so that I forgot what it looked like to be nice to myself. What's up, baddies, and welcome to another Arab and Thriving video. I've been creating content in some way, shape, or form over the past more than 15 years. I was blogging when blogging was a thing. Even when I would write in my journal, I would like make all my friends read it. Like, I've always wanted an audience. I've always wanted to share. I've always wanted to self-express. And I truly feel so whole when I do this. Like, I just love talking, first and foremost. Second of all, like, I just love sharing my ideas. And I realized that it comes from this deep need to feel understood by people, which is a gift and a curse. It has helped me really learn how to communicate clearly, not just in writing, but also verbally. That's one of my main strengths, is I'm just a very strong communicator. I can really like look into the depths of my heart and find the words to get you to understand what's in here. What I don't think I realized is that I can curate the most perfect words to describe something, and two different people, each based on their own perspectives, their own projections, are going to read what I write or say in a completely different way. The reason that I usually don't talk about haters is because, not because I don't believe that they're there, but because I truly empathize with people regardless how they decide to act. I also feel like it gives them more power, and it's just kind of cringy, I will say. Like, I feel like a lot of people and creators talk about haters because it makes them feel more important. It doesn't make me feel important at all to have people hate me. I'm a Libra. I like want everyone to like me. It's like the worst thing ever. Last week, I had a really annoying experience with this person who, for the past like several years of me knowing this person, they're just a hater. You know those people that like you can't do anything right. Everything that you do or say, or everything that you have an opinion on, is just not smart enough or woke enough, or is just so toxically positive or whatever. Like, they just have something to criticize about everything that you say. And in the past, when this person who I don't even talk to like that, like we're not friends, would criticize me, I would feel this need to make them understand me. I would feel this need to show them that I'm a nice person and I'm a good person, because they're trying to make me feel like I'm not a good person or I don't stand for the right things. In me doing that, I was disrespecting myself and disrespecting my own boundaries, because don't get me wrong, I think it's very good, a very great quality to take in feedback, even and especially when that feedback is critical and when you don't agree or when you don't want to see yourself through that lens. I do think there's such thing as being too fair. I found myself in a lot of situations, we'll get back to this story in a second, where I was overly accountable, but the person that I was talking to was never accountable. And so it created this really unfair dynamic where I was always trying to work on what I was doing wrong, and that person was never actually trying to investigate what they might be doing wrong that could create the world where I would be doing other things wrong. Like, I just was always holding myself accountable and constantly attracting people that never wanted to hold themselves accountable. And that's a perfect match in a way, because if those people always want to deflect blame, what better person to latch onto than the person that's always going to look internally and be like, oh yeah, I guess I could see how I was wrong. So I was recreating that dynamic even outside of my own relationships with people online. When they would like have a hate comment or say something really critical, I would always feel the need to investigate, like, oh, okay, let me like actually think about this and be open-minded. And sure enough, if you look hard enough, you'll always find something wrong with what you said or what you did if you're trying to analyze it through everybody's perspective. So I would always engage this person in conversation, but it never felt good. Like, I always felt misunderstood. I always felt judged. I felt like this person's vibe and energy was always super like skeptical and critical and just negative. I always felt like, okay, this person is just unhappy, so I kind of just need to be nice to them, which in a sense is kind of a little bit stuck up. Like, if you really, really peel it back, it's like, oh, I need to be nice to them because they hate their life and I clearly love my life, and so they probably hate me because I love my life, and so let me be nice to them. Like, that's kind of stupid too, in a sense. Anyway, this person circled back after us never talking about recent stuff that I've been posting, and and just left me like a really mean comment. They didn't give me any constructive criticism. They didn't tell me what I could have improved in my message. They didn't even tell me what about my message was offensive. But they essentially came on my page and told me to shut up, like that I need to just stop talking. I thought I was creating an impact, but I'm not creating an impact, and this is not doing what you think it's doing. So just stop talking and start listening more to people. And it's like, first of all, this is my page. Like, if you don't want to hear me talk, why are you here, right? So I've caught myself getting ready to respond and just do the whole nice thing again, where I'm trying to like engage them and get them to understand where I'm coming from. And then I got upset because I'm like, no, like this person has been doing this for years and you've tried to be nice and kind and like open-minded, but at what point are you gonna stand up for yourself? I would never let someone come into my house and just talk to me any type of way. So why am I letting them come onto my platform, my sacred space? There's nothing wrong with being constructive, but they weren't being constructive. They were just being negative. It was right before I went to sleep too, and I hate going to sleep feeling anxious or negative. So that also bothered me because it had clearly bothered me a lot. And then I'm like, you know what, Rima, like you're in your era where you block people. Just block this person. They're always negative. They're not trying to add something positive to the space. There's nothing wrong with blocking them. So I made the choice to block them. And like I felt a little bit better, but I kept thinking about it the next day, and it wasn't about them, but I just was trying to improve the way that I handle these things moving forward. Because again, like I'm growing my platform. I never want to stop creating. I never want people's vibes or energy or hate or negativity to slow me down and make me second guess my message. So I kept thinking, how can I better deal with these things moving forward or think about them differently so that I'm not so thrown off when this does happen, because it will happen. It really brought me to that bug analogy. I'm like, it's not personal. You're annoying. You're like, your vibe is annoying. Like, we don't have to be friends. We're not friends. You're not trying to engage in a critical discussion. There's nothing to gain from this interaction. You're literally a bug. Like, you are literally a fly that just buzzes for no reason other than to just buzz. And I'm not gonna take that personal, just like I wouldn't take it personal if I was over here washing dishes and a fly came to my ear. I would probably slap it. If I'm in a place where people are just hating left and right, if I had a fly problem in my home or a cockroach problem, God forbid, I would spray some bug spray. Like, it's not that deep. I would spray some bug spray. If I could escort these things out of my home, or if I'm driving in a vehicle and there's like a bee, I'm gonna roll my window down so it could kindly let itself out, right? Why can't I approach annoying people through that same lens? Why must I feel like it is mean to set a boundary about how people treat me in my own space? So I'm like, yeah, that's true. Like, that's a really good way of looking at it. That metaphor was super helpful. But then it made me realize that I felt the need to be nice. And I've had so many issues like this in the past with people who are just rude and disrespectful because I wanted to be seen as nice. And I talk about this a little bit in people-pleasing videos, but it was less about the actual value of the interaction and more about my ego and my self-perception. So I felt the need to not block people, even like toxic exes in the past. I used to struggle to block people because I felt like that was a mean thing to do. But it's like, okay, but if they're being mean to you, at what point is it a mean thing to not block them? That was when I decided that there's a huge difference between being nice and being kind. This is something I try to tell my sister all the time. My sister is 7 years younger than me. I try to like give her the little nuggets that would have helped me navigate things a lot better. I realized I was just attached to being seen as nice. That is always about you and your ego and not actually about the other person you think you're being nice to. So I realized I was creating this dynamic where people low-key kind of felt like they could come at me any kind of way. And when I realized that, I'm like, that is not what I'm about. I'm all about boundaries. I'm about dignity above and beyond all else. I'm about respect. Like, I don't ever disrespect people with my words. Like, that's just not my style. Ahmed and I were literally like right here on this couch watching reality TV the other day and seeing how certain couples talk to each other. And we were both just astounded because it's like, we get angry at each other too, but we just never disrespect each other with our words. It's just not something I've ever done. I will shut down and not say anything before I say something I don't mean. I always say what I mean. And so when people come at me just saying whatever they want and having no filter, that is not kind to myself. And it's honestly not kind to them either, because I have such high expectations for the people that I love and for the people that I'm around. I'm not gonna let you stoop down to this standard, and I'm not gonna use your misery or like whatever the hell's going on in your life as an excuse to enable your behavior. To me, that's disrespectful to you. I'm not gonna say, oh, it's okay, she just her boyfriend just broke up with her, or she doesn't feel good about herself, so it's okay that she's talking like this. No, that is really disrespectful and degrading to you. I'm gonna hold you to the standard that I hold people that I love and that I hold myself and that I will give you, because that's just the way I see the world. And people who don't approach things at that standard can just get blocked. Like, it's really that simple. This was like a rant, but it felt so good. And I just like to rationalize things a lot. I like to feel fair. That's the value that I think comes from all of this. I like to feel fair in my interactions to other people, but I also want to be fair to myself. If you are somebody who wants to take the high road, because that's something that I was obsessed with, and now I'm like, I'm not going to take the low road, but if blocking someone means I'm taking the middle road, whatever, like, I'm okay with that. Sometimes taking the high road is like all about your ego and your perception. And I think for me, that's what it was. I never wanted someone to have something bad to say about me. And you just can't control the way people are going to talk about you. You can't control whether you're the villain in their story or the hero. And I constantly wanted to not be the villain. People are just going to see you through their projections. Of course, you can make sure that your behaviors and your decisions and your actions and your words are in alignment with your values. At that point, once you've done that, you can't control what happens after. You can't control how those things are received. And if people are coming at you with actual constructive criticism, by all means, this video is not me telling you that you shouldn't accept things that make you feel uncomfortable. Relax. Not at all. That's not at all what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if someone approaches you in a way that is disrespectful or rude or dismissive or degrading, even if they have a point, it's just not the way that someone should talk to you. Give yourself permission, even in your desire to be fair or nice or kind to people, to also ask yourself what it looks like to be kind to yourself. And if that means distancing from somebody, if that means setting a verbal boundary with someone, if you actually care to have them in your life, if that means blocking them, if you don't care to have them in your life, because that's what it was with that person, that is okay. That doesn't make you a mean person. It doesn't make you stuck up. It doesn't make you rude or disrespectful. It makes you someone with dignity and self-respect. And there is literally nothing on this freaking planet that is sexier than a person who has dignity and self-respect and sets boundaries that preserve those two things. If you like this video, let me know. If you have any questions about this, how it relates to people pleasing, how it relates to just relationships in general and those dynamics. When I started creating those like how to respond videos, people always ask how I would respond in specific situations. So if you want me to think through what that looks like, I would love, love, love to create more like this. As always, I will see you on the next one. Stay powerful. I love you so much.